I'm not even doing the usual intro because I'm not excited about this football team, and neither should you be. Neither should you. You shouldn't be excited about this football team. This is Shamus Clancy on From the Bleachers on BGN Radio. I'm recording this early Monday morning, and I surely hope that my upstairs neighbors are either awake or going to work, because otherwise I may wake them up in the recording process for this podcast. Eagles fall in Las Vegas yesterday, embarrassingly so. Zach Ertz, in his first game as an Arizona Cardinal, scores a 47-yard touchdown. He looked like Yak Ertz in a way he really never has in an Eagles uniform. You know what I say to Zach? Good luck. You got out of here. I don't blame you. Maybe you'll win a Super Bowl again. Maybe you'll be a Super Bowl hero once more. Saw a stat this morning from Tommy Lawler. Great follow on Twitter. Has done some writing on his site for forever in terms of the Eagles blogosphere and has done writing for the Eagles website too. Eagles quarterbacks or opposing quarterbacks going against the Eagles defense have a completion percentage of 74.4%. Yes, this is a pass-happy NFL. That's the lowest mark in the entire NFL. Jonathan Gannon's defense, he plays this high cover 2 defense, deep safety looks. Only has one real safety because Rodney McLeod's out there. Malcolm Jenkins is gone. Jalen Mills is gone. All these other supposed stars. Anthony Harris is out. You have Marcus Epps back there getting mossed. And they're just letting the quarterbacks do whatever they want, take everything underneath. And it would be one thing if they were playing golf, trying to do this classic bend but don't break vibe. But it's incongruent with the Eagles' own offensive attack because the Eagles' offense isn't this offense that's going to play catch-up and score a bunch of points and have these explosive plays. The defense needs to be more aggressive. Jonathan Gannon might be it for him in Philadelphia. I said that on the podcast and wrote it a few weeks prior, maybe after that Week 3 game. After Kansas City, I said Nick Sirianni might be a one-and-done head coach. Now, did I want him to be a one-and-done head coach? No. I would have loved if the Eagles rebounded from 1-2, made the postseason. Jalen Hurts looked great. Everything was gravy. Everything was looking good and going up in Philadelphia. It doesn't seem it's going to be going that way. Nick Sirianni, Jonathan Gannon, you can't fire these guys in the middle of the season, I don't think. But I don't want them back in Philadelphia next year. I want the GM gone. I want a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator. And as much as I've gassed up Jalen Hurts, I'm ready for a new quarterback. I've seen enough from Jalen, and I'm surely not alone in saying this, that Jalen's a good dude. He's cool. He somehow has regressed this season in a weird way, it feels like, because in those Saints and Cardinals games last year, he played infinitely better than any game he's played this season. And I'm left wondering, hey, maybe if Doug stuck around, things would be a little bit different for Jalen. And that's me just kind of being a Doug apologist. I think of Lost when Charlie's holding up his hand at the door showing Desmond. When it says not Penny's boat, it should say not Doug's fault. It wasn't Doug's fault any of it last year. It was Carson and Howie. Maybe things would be different if we had Doug Peterson still. No, that's just me. I'm always going to be talking about Doug Peterson until the end of time. But Jalen he's just not it. I haven't seen enough. Got to stop saying, well, it's his X start. It's his 11th start. It's this or that. I haven't seen really anything besides that Saints and Cardinals game last year. And that's why I was so high on him last season. Because if you subscribe to the idea that the coaching staff had gone south and become stale during the end of the Doug Peterson era, you would be thinking that maybe a new head coach could revitalize this offense overall and specifically get through to Jalen Hurts. And Hurts hasn't made enough plays as a runner in the way I thought he would, isn't as explosive, taking these plays that he's rolling out and keeping it. It's just not working overall. Just not working. And I don't know if you bench him this year. I don't think you should be doing that. I think you just let it ride out. Maybe at the end of the year, Minshew comes in or something, but there's no use playing Joe Flacco in the lost season. I'd rather just see anything from Jalen Hurts to warrant him a position on next year's roster, whether it's as a starter in case they don't really swing a trade for a guy or find a guy in the draft. Like maybe you add some pieces around him and he's just okay next year. Maybe that's enough to have a competent season, maybe sneak into the playoffs. I don't know. I don't think it's likely. And there's no reason playing Joe Flacco. Gardner Minshew, other guy who has more style points than I would say on-field points, much like Hurts, and that's probably why I gravitate to both those guys. But not looking good at the quarterback position, not looking good at coach, any coaching spot, really, and certainly not looking good at general manager. This team stinks. It's everybody's fault. It's everyone's fault. That's the title of this podcast. It's not just saying, oh, it's all Sirianni. And I've hated on Sirianni. And it's not just all on Howie, because everyone hates Harry, but everyone knows it doesn't start and end there. And it's not just all Jalen Hurts, who has been probably given a little bit of a bad hand, but at the same time, starting quarterback in the NFL, you got to make plays, you got to make throws, and in situations where guys have been open, he has a chance to make a big play, an explosive play, throws downfield when guys are open, just not doing it. And he's part of the reason the Eagles are 2-5 right now. I'm trying to think how soon the earliest the Eagles have been out of it in my life. And I think back to 2012, they went 4-12. They were 3-1 to start the year. Like, they already had more wins than the Eagles did through the first month of the season currently. And in 2015, that season was pretty terrible. But even at the end, into November and early December, they still had a theoretical chance at the postseason. We're kind of grinding along, picking up some nasty wins. They had that great overtime win against Dallas on Sunday Night Football, and then they had the upset huge one in New England. So they had some wins in the back schedule to kind of keep them alive in the playoff race. But it was never as clear as day since 2012. And I think to that, because I think that's the first year I had season tickets, and obviously was always a crazed Eagles fan. But since then, my fandom has gone up a notch, and definitely also coincides with being a college student. My first college fall was in 2012, and things just changed in terms of your responsibilities and what you want to do with your career. And, obviously gravitated towards this sports media realm, and, my interest and fandom changed in a way with the team during that period. So kind of think back to then. And, I was talking with some friends this morning even, and he said, how does this year already feel worse than last year, meaning Doug Peterson's last year in 2020, Chip Kelly's last year, or Andy Reid's final year? And maybe what I said to that is maybe because, one, like I said, this is their earliest they've been 2-5. I believe so. Like in 2015, like I'm saying, they were still in it at the end of the year. 2012, they go, start the year 3-1 and then finish 4-12 with a disastrous rash of injuries. And what I came down to is, at least in some point in time, all those other coaches seemed not just good, but great. Obviously, Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl here. Andy Reid made a Super Bowl, made 5 NFC Championship appearances, won a boatload of divisions. And Chip Kelly, one division in his first year, goes 20-12 as a head coach in his first 2 seasons. And everyone thinks he's a messiah-like figure in the city. So Nick Sirianni has had neither the success of Andy and Doug, nor the theoretical offensive creativity and mastermindness that Chip Kelly had. So now we're stuck here. It is October 25th, and the Eagles season is over, it seems. And I don't know. Would it be funny if this was like cut up on a clip and you saw me in some like Eagles hype video in the postseason saying the season's over? Season's probably over. It's over. They needed that win. They needed last week's win. They needed all these wins, and they don't have it. They're going into Detroit on Halloween, spooky season, and they will be playing a winless Lions team. And I could think of no way better to capitalize that this is a terrible, terrible season, and that there needs to be a clean sweep from the organization, from the general manager to the head coach to the quarterback, than to losing to a Lions team like that while everyone is hungover watching the game from going to Halloween parties the previous 2 days. And then, it's the back end of their schedules is, people say it's easier. I mean, they still have the Chargers, right? The week after the Halloween game is the Chargers. The Eagles are 2-5. If they win against Detroit, they're 3-5. They come home, play the Chargers, and you think maybe a West Coast team coming East Coast. Game's at 4:00, and they'll travel early. It shouldn't really be an issue for them. And they're looking at maybe at 3-6, and they have the Saints, who, okay, pretty good, better than the Eagles for sure, right? They're playing on Monday Night Football tonight against Seattle, I believe. And where are the wins coming from? Yes, they have all of those division wins, but is Washington worse than them? I don't know. Are the Giants worse than them? I would think probably yes, but I'm not completely sure right now. And maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment. I've always been on the podcast. Recency bias runs through my brain, as it does most people's brains. And now I'm just left wondering, where do we go from here? And it's everyone's fault. And the guy who's probably, like I said, everyone's fault, but there are different layers to it. I think it's mostly, not even mostly, the majority of the blame goes to Howie Roseman, because this has not just been a 1-year thing, the way it has been, 1-year blip with Sirianni and Hurts not stepping up this season. But this is a demonstrable organizational failure going over the last handful of years with poor drafts, and the Eagles were never, ever, ever able to replenish the talent they had on that Super Bowl roster, where they had the deepest roster in the NFL. Were able to overcome all of those injuries, including one at the quarterback position, the most important position in sports, to win the Super Bowl over, the greatest dynasty, the greatest coach, the greatest quarterback of all time. And Howie once did a good job, but it hasn't happened in a while. And it really sums up how low things have sunk in the post-Super Bowl era. And the team was only really good again after the Super Bowl in that 2018 run when Foles came back in. And maybe that doesn't mean about Carson Wentz's leader or player, whatever it is. When Foles came in that Rams game, Sunday Night Football on the West Coast, they were like double-digit 14.5-point underdogs and pulled off that win. And they go on that run and they double-doing game. They make the second round of the postseason. That was the last time the Eagles were like truly, truly, truly a great team. And I don't know when the next time we're going to see that is. And it's not this year. It's probably not next year. And God knows when it's going to happen again. I'm just sad, I'm angry. I thought I was going to be yelling more, but it's just one of those things where sometimes if something happens in my life that's minuscule, I might freak out a little bit more because in that moment, releasing some of the emotion that I had that I've maybe kept built up or pent up during more serious moments. And sometimes when I'm hit with those more serious moments, I'm sure this is something a lot of people can relate to. I kind of just take it in stride and mellow out and just getting a little numb. And that's kind of how I'm feeling about this Eagles team right now. I want to yell, I want to scream, but I just don't have it in me. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve that emotional stranglehold they have on me and they have on the vast majority of fans, especially if you're listening to this. You're a crazy Eagles fan listening to the great BGN radio network. And I mean, sure, you love the team as much as me or anyone out there that listens to this podcast, tweets, goes to the games, whatever, anyone of any background or age. And it sucks. It's everyone's fault. It sucks. Got to suck it up. Got to get through this season. Keep your eyes peeled for those 3 first-round picks next year. And part of the reason you can't even get excited about those first-round picks is that Howie Roseman is going to be the guy making them more likely than not, and he screwed up this entire roster. And you have this treasure trove of picks for the first time ever in this franchise. You're going to have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds, likely 3 first-round picks, maybe 2 of them, and probably 2 of them in the top 5. Maybe one of them is the first overall pick itself. And somehow I can't get excited for the future because the guy making decisions and Sirianni's back next year. We waste another year of these picks. And if you can't get a quarterback with those picks, are you happy rolling with Jalen? I can talk myself, I know it, but it's not good. It's not good. We're going to be doing something about Howie Roseman. And that's it for me. Short one. What else is there to say right now? I'm angry. You're angry. This team stinks. It's everyone's fault. Again, Shamus Clancy. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Shamus_Clancy. Be sure to follow the BGN Instagram page at Bleeding Green Insta and the Bleeding Green Twitter account at Bleeding Green. And of course, read the great website, bleedinggreennation.com, and subscribe or leave a review on their podcast platform of choice. Even this Eagle season might suck. We have some great talent on this podcast, and we're bringing you great pods consistently throughout the week, nearly every day, to keep you updated and be your little therapy session for you as you deal with this horrific Eagle season. Keep bleeding green. Regardless of what they're doing on the field, these guys, whether it's the players, the coaches, and even the general manager, their time in Philadelphia is finite. You will be a fan for the rest of your life, and you likely have been your entire life. So you keep bleeding green. Don't worry about everyone else. Your fandom will likely be rewarded one day. Maybe it's way, way in the future, like it was that one time, February 4th, 2018. One more time, keep bleeding green.